Today we're going to have a chat with Bob from Dean Painting and find out a little bit about his business and how he uses our services and what he's got planned for the future. Hi Bob, how are you?
Not too bad, mate.
That's good. Bob's not a big fan of being on camera, so we'll be really nice to him today.
It's all good.
So tell us what you do. Obviously you're a painter, but...
Yep. I've been out on my own this time, probably just coming up 10 years. So I just turned 50, so from when I was 40. Before that I'd worked for other businesses, and then I tried to get my own when I was 21, a long time ago. I only did that for a couple of years, but probably in the last, before I went out on my own, I worked on council and got into a bit of health and safety stuff there. I think when I went out on my own, I think that as I put people on, I think probably in the back of my mind is going to wear yellow vest is probably the first thing, but probably the reason why at the end of the day, from the council point of view, one good thing that came out of it was the safety aspect, especially when I started doing commercial work.
Yeah. So you do mostly commercial work?
I do now, probably in the last 7 years. First 3 years I was doing project builders, just me and one other guy. Fortunate enough to do commercial work now. I've got 3 guys that work under me. Things are looking pretty good at the moment. So.
And you're flat out.
Yeah. That's why I got paid.
That's right.
It's people get daunted by the bigger jobs, but at the end of the day, it's still you're in one spot for a lot longer period of time.
And it's just one foot in front of the other.
That's right.
Just the same process, just bigger.
Probably the other thing, one of the reasons why, I'm just remembering what's happened to me. When I worked at another company, I fell through a roof.
Oh, okay.
Touch wood, I didn't do any
like
serious...
through a skylight? Or
just through a bit of laser light. The boss at the time told me and this other bloke that everything was fine. They were a big national company. They said everything is fine. You can get up on the roof. But of course, once I fell through, all the paperwork started coming. He was in denial. I said, no. That was probably another lesson to go. The reasons why things happen. Everyone is blasé until something happens, and that really. I was lucky.
The document trail.
Yeah. I was very lucky that I could still walk and vertebrae didn't move. If they'd moved, I only fell 6 foot, not very high. If they'd moved, I could have been in a world of pain, but So that's probably another reason when we get up on the only 2 things that will kill us on site is electricity, mixing with power lines, with water, and as soon as we get off the ground.
Yeah.
So and to get on some of these sites, you have to have your safety stuff in place, otherwise you just won't be employed. White card, obviously you have to have that.
Yeah.
Unless you're painting some lady's kitchen, but usually we're doing a lot more than that. And it just builds up from there. But I say people it's just part of your business. It's just something that
And obviously when you've got it all in place, it's a load off your mind and just something you don't have to worry about. And
exactly. That's what my mate Burnsy, the plasterist, he said, you work your whole life, you don't want to get to 55, 60 and something happen, and what are you going to be every morning for? Try and make $1, but you've got to pay your tax and all this other stuff, so it's just, you can't avoid it.
And you can't, and it's too big a risk to, to lose everything. So, so so how do you find, because one of the hardest things we find, from my side, is getting people to do stuff. It's one thing to say you want to do all the right things, but it's obviously a whole other thing to make sure that people, your staff and other people around you are doing the right thing. So you've got a pretty good approach to doing that. You guys do their Take 5 every day, and now you've started the whole project checklists where they got to go through the whole job sequence and tick off that they've done all the different aspects. And we just did some training with Van, so to make sure that he knows how to do it. Is that been difficult, or has it just been something that you just?
I don't know if you're a business owner like me. It's all well and good being on site every day and ranting and raving and do whatever you've got to do, but I've worked out, especially now, probably 5 years ago I wouldn't have said this, but now you get to an age where you can't physically do everything every day, and you know what I mean? You get to a point where
Can't be everywhere.
Yeah. If you want to do any sort of job that's half decent size, you can't do it on your own.
Yeah.
So you want to, I know it's a dream world, but you want to create an atmosphere where everyone knows what their expectations are. And I tell my boys, most of, in a painting game, 80% of the cost is labour. A bit of paint here and there, that's not, it's time and planning the day, how's it going to work. And like you said, we've discussed it, tied in with safety and with the data. So I tell my boys every morning, let's just have a coffee and talk about what you're actually going to be doing. What's the reason why you're doing that? That's what I ask them when they're doing something and it's not right. I go, what are you trying to achieve?
Yeah.
Just stop. I've had a bloke at Redcliffe's cutting in the ceiling all day, and he had a hat on his head, and he's marked the ceiling all the way down this big job. Took all day. Took us 2 days to fix it.
Yeah.
Instead of, when I say to him, get down off the ladder, have a look, see does it look okay? It's easy to do it once and do it twice and try and fix it up later. It's just a nightmare. So, but that's our trade, and I think most businesses are the same. You'd rather do it once and just discuss what went right, what went wrong, how can you improve.
Yeah. And I mean, it's funny because people always talk about, oh, I have to do safety stuff, but like you just described, thinking and planning and working through what you're going to do is actually what safety is really all about.
Yeah.
And if you just tie it straight into what you actually do as a business, then you're not doing a safety thing, you're just planning the job properly and then making sure that you execute it the way that you said, which is really just common sense. I always tell people that 90% of things that go wrong safety-wise are because people haven't planned properly, they haven't prepared, and they don't know, and they're trying to improvise on the job.
They do it on the fly, yeah.
And that's when people make mistakes and do things wrong. So I think, any way that you can make people think about what they're doing before they do it is, that's what safety is, in really simple terms.
Yeah, when you break it down,
Yeah, so one thing I do want to, you just told a story about how someone's hat. What's the funniest thing you've ever seen safety-wise? Obviously, falling through a roof's a very serious thing.
Yeah, that's a serious one.
But
another one, which he's left the building now, a van, he was under pressure one day, and I've heard it happened to another painter in Mildura. Had the heat-censored sprinklers on the roof, and I wasn't on site, but the foreman's told him, you've got to fill that hole right next to it, because handovers, as with all paint, handover happens that day, it's got to get done.
Yep.
He's put the heat gun up near there and popped, gone the sprinkler, and luckily it was only one sprinkler, but still cost me whatever it was. I think it was $400 clean-up in that room. The fire brigade were called. I spoke to the maintenance guy at the hospital. They said, you dodged a bullet there because that can be up to a $4,000 call-out fee for that. And I spoke, like I said, I heard about came to another painter about a month ago. I heard a story the other end of town, same thing, rush at the end, someone's put a hole in the wrong spot. Instead of saying, no, well, bad luck, it is what it is, you try and rush it without saying, hang on, what's going to happen? He knows now, and he was devastated. He couldn't talk, he just, But anyway, lesson learned. In hindsight too, when we had our induction at the hospital, we should have stood our ground and said, no, you're supposed to have all these sprinklers isolated.
Yeah.
But then the maintenance guy was telling us, oh no, we can't isolate them. This was after the event.
Yeah.
So if I wanted to, I could have pushed hard, but we'd still made money out of the job. We've got another contract with them hopefully coming up. So you've got to pick your fights and say, okay.
Yeah, and then all said and done, it wasn't a disaster.
No.
If it had set off the sprinklers for half the hospital and flooded the place out, then it might have been a different story. But
Yeah.
again, it's just one of those little things where the think before you act.
That's what I was trying to say to my boys. Don't listen to what I've got to say, but don't have to be done exactly. But if someone else is in your ear, you're going to step back and go, hang on a minute, what's the reason? Why are they telling me what to do?
And they're not your boss at the end of the day. That's another thing that I'm always telling people. You take instructions from your boss, not from Joe the plumber and, you know, all
these
the
other tradies that
that's
are
right.
around. Yeah.
They're not in charge of you. They're not in charge of your safety. So you need to not take, you know, think for yourself.
It's
So-
just, what do they call it? Other noises that are around. Yeah, just focus on what you're doing, especially on the commercial sites where there's a lot of.
Well, everyone thinks they're the most important
Yeah.
person, don't they? There's a lot of
Yeah.
a lot of kings on a construction site, so they all think that their job's the most important part.
That's
so.
where I think the safety bit's real important. Whereas, like I said, if you're painting old lady's kitchen, you're just there with her and she's making her a cup of tea, and the worst thing's going to happen, you might slip off a ladder, but that'll be maybe. Whereas these biggest jobs, it's a lot more.
Well, and you've got people, like you said, you've got other trades interfering in your workspace and, you know, leaving things around and changing the environment every day and doing all kinds of stuff. And it can be making people think for themselves and go through that checklist process every time. Just makes a big difference.
Yeah.
All right, well, we might wrap it up there and I'll let you get off camera and get back to painting.
Cheers,
thanks very much for being on the screen, and we'll catch up again in a few years and see if you're much bigger, and
Who knows?
maybe you'll have some supervisors out there and you'll just be sitting back relaxing.
That'd be nice.
All right.